Crazy day for the AI market, crazy day for Nvidia, and more importantly, crazy day for companies that deal in the power market. We can see companies like Vertiv up nearly 6%, Navitas up roughly 20% on the day, and an extra 31% after hours. You also have some other companies that maybe you're not familiar with, like Power Integration, that are seeing that same sentiment thanks to Nvidia. But what exactly is going on? Let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so I want to showcase this image that NVIDIA provides that really gives a breakdown of what's happening right now. So today, to get kind of your power to your compute rack, you have to go through various step-down solutions, right? These utilities, eventually you end up having about 415 volts of alternating current coming to your compute rack. And then you have even more solutions to step down that power. Now, to get high voltage and to kind of all step it down various ways or into various different voltages, you need to have a lot of different components. Also, the conversion of energy, you also, it's never a 100% efficiency rate. So you're always losing on efficiency. That efficiency comes in forms of heat, which also increases kind of power consumptions, and it does a lot of other things. So NVIDIA and a lot of players have decided that, look, instead of having 415 volts of alternating currents and doing all these step down voltages that create inefficiencies, let's go into a future where we have 800 volts of direct current and eliminate a lot of the components in between. Now, obviously, the issue here is this is away from the norm. So you have to create technology that is able to withstand a lot of this high voltage and is able to be efficiency at transferring it to different parts of the rack system of the overall AI infrastructure, right? But you can see that you're reducing a lot of the components, you're reducing a lot of the step downs, and by reducing a lot of the step downs, you are reducing cost and you're improving the efficiency transfer of power, which is super critical, right? Because if you're able to increase the efficiency of power in the market that is power limited constraint, that would go a long, long way. So this is one of the ways that a lot of companies are partnering up to do this. Now, NVIDIA does mention that transition to fully realize 800 volts of direct current architecture will occur in phases, giving the industry time to adapt and the component ecosystem to mature, right? So you're not going to change everything at once. You're going to have different components in different sections, from the campuses, from the data centers, from the road to the rack, to the boards, to actually the GPU, each going to have individual components shift. And this is, in my opinion, the tricky part about this power market. One is how much components are going to be changed, what's going to be the price of those components, how much competition is going to be there, when is that part of the phase going to start for revenue for a lot of these companies, right? So understanding all that is what creates a lot of the volatility, in my opinion, in a lot of these power companies. Now, NVIDIA has a lot of great partners that it's working with to do this, right? Today, you've probably seen this list with silicon carbide companies like Analog Devices, like Infineon Technologies, Navitas, Semi, STM Microelectronics, Texas Instrument. In the power systems, they also have other players. Now, one company that supposedly made it new to this list was Power Integrations. And this actually created Power Integrations to go up roughly 25% today on the day, and then an extra 9% after hours. Now we can see Power Integration details 1250 volts and 1700 volts of PowiGaN technology for next generation 800 volt of direct current AI data centers. So we can see just the overall innovation happening in the market. So that was something that excited the space right now, but there was something else that excited the market. A lot of companies started to release new solutions. And the main reason is, if we kind of look here, NVIDIA is going to a conference, OCP Global Summit, where NVIDIA is offering a glimpse into the future of gigawatt AI factories. NVIDIA will unveil specs of the NVIDIA Vera Rubin NVIDIA 144 generation open architecture, and it's going to talk about the 576 Rubin, all which is kind of pushed into this 800 volt of direct current data centers of the gigawatt era. So in this kind of conference that's happening right now, I think I have, let's see if I have it around here. Maybe I didn't open it, but in this conference that's happening right now, we're kind of getting more information about this, which is creating more excitement for the overall market. Now, because of that, right, we actually had a major player, Vertiv. Vertiv is probably one of my favorites in the power that I don't own, but I definitely see it making great partnerships with NVIDIA over time, right? They've helped kind of NVIDIA create this template of creating AI factories. They're great with their power infrastructure solution. Just not a company I own, but if you look at all my videos, it's definitely one I've talked really well about. Well, today they announced a milestone in its collaboration with NVIDIA to accelerate the next generation of AI factories. And the main thing that they did is they went from vision to readiness, right? So they talk about the products that they were working and they mentioned it's kind of ready for production, right? Vertiv is finalizing its component specifications for comprehensive platform designs, which include centralized rectifiers, high efficiency DC busways, and rack level DC to DC converters engineered to support the megawatt scale rack demands of future NVIDIA computes. They mentioned the platform, like I mentioned, it goes from readiness, it was from engineering design and is now going to maturity. And this created a lot of excitement for the overall industry, which I believe is good because now we're seeing that there's actual results. Gave this stock, which is a $68 billion, a nice 6% boost. Now, if you want to learn about companies and their financials, I would 100% recommend checking out fiscal.ai and using my code fiscal.ai/Jose. So I use this platform on a daily basis. You get 15% off. You get great charts like this on everything. Revenue estimates we can see for Vertiv. Revenue is expected to not grow much between June 25th to this upcoming quarter, but you can continue to see that strong growth heading into December of 2025. And a lot of great charts you can find on fiscal.ai. But overall, we can see kind of this trend of the data center market has really accelerated the growth for Vertiv. Now, if we jump to Navitas actually had a great day, a market cap of $2.1 billion. Now, I will say, because Navitas is a smaller company, you do get kind of a lot more excitement and you kind of see these massive volatility swings. I am going to give a warning for Navitas, but maybe I'll save that for after the good news. But Navitas now sitting at $13.86. In this channel, when we talk about Navitas, we've kind of said the same thing. This is more of a trading vehicle. This is a company that is gonna move on news, on headlines. And the headlines right now were pretty exciting. We saw that with the Vertiv kind of moving into the 800 volts. Things were progressing. Bullish thing number one. Bullish thing number two, today Navitas did also say that they actually have products for this 800 volt DC power, right? They unveiled a 100 volt GaN FETs, and they also alongside also released a 650 volt GaN and high voltage silicon carbide devices, purposely built for, you guessed it, this massive AI 100 volts of direct current AI factory architectures. So the market got excited because they did release this after hours, and it is creating this massive excitement for the stock. Now, again, this is a stock that I believe will continue to be a trading vehicle. And as we see more excitement in AI, as we see more excitement for the power solutions, Navitas is going to benefit. My biggest risk issue here, though, is we don't know when this revenue is going to be coming in. We've heard from NVIDIA that this kind of solution is going to go in phases. It's going to be giving the industry time to adapt. Now, Navitas is expected to report earnings on November 3rd. If Navitas gives no real update to maybe massive revenue growth, if they don't say, look, because of this new update or this new product, revenue, we're now increasing our revenue by X percentage, the market will tank Navitas. That's my overall thoughts. I mean, we kind of saw it in the last earnings, which they reported. We saw that the market was a bit excited for them. They didn't deliver because they didn't really show much of a growth potential in the short term, and the market sold it off. If the same thing happens this quarter, I would expect similar reaction. Now, the reason is as a investor, we don't know necessarily which parts are being shifted right away, and kind of the overall market timeline. So if they actually come out this earnings and say, look, we're actually expected to see revenue growth dramatically next quarter and the quarter after that, that would continue to see the stock as a nice rally up. But right now, the analysts that are covering Navitas don't expect much growth for this company in September 2025 or December of 2025. This is why I say the guidance that they give is going to be crucial to how Nvidia stock reacts after earnings. Right now, the sentiment and this kind of headlines with Nvidia is very, very strong. And it's definitely a nice bullish sentiment for the overall stock. I am not as bullish, I would say, in the power market. The power market has a lot of competition. The power market has, because of high competition, it does have a pricing war. The thing that comes good with Navitas, though, is that it is a small company, a $2.1 billion. If the market is so big, going from a small player and even taking a few market share because of the demand is crazy, you're going to be able to grow even if that competition is out there, right? So that's the strength here with Navitas. For me, I still don't plan an ode. I still believe this is more of a trading vehicle. Another company here in the power space, Monolithic Power Solutions, ticker MPWR, was up another 8% today, where year to date, the stock has been doing really, really well, right? So this is a market that has been pretty excited right now, especially as we continue to hear this weakness in power constraint or this power constraint issue. Now, I am going to say, I feel like the market is getting a little too excited in the long term, in the short term of things. I mean, companies that we've been following in this portfolio and that you guys know I own saw massive double digit growth today. I mean, Solaris Energy Infrastructure, a company that deals with AI infrastructure and has a great partnership with XAI, was up nearly 15% today. This is a stock we talked about just a month ago when it was in the 30s. Another one that saw a massive return today was White Fiber. Many people are still kind of following kind of like your irons and your all that. This was a random play that I said was speculative, only in my portfolio, up 19% today, after hours, another 2.2. These are types of numbers you shouldn't see on a daily basis, right? The overall market does seem pretty excited. Now, the crazy thing is the market can remain super excited, but if you are, I am going to start to be a little bit more conservative on how or where my new money comes in, right? I've talked about it in previous episodes that new money coming in right now is most likely going to go to either ETFs, Max 7s, indexes, because I'm already pretty excited about my AI plays right now is trying to have new money come in and be not completely defensive, but more defensive than a lot of these smaller companies. So congratulations to all the longs. I hope we continue to see days like this, but I just want to say, be a little careful because again, in my portfolio, if I'm seeing stocks like this up 16, up 20% in one day, I start to think what's going on and when is the market gonna humble me?